Hello, good evening. John Augustine back here again. Snow. Perhaps there's a lot of snow where you are. Some countries have a good bit of it. Now, we used to have it when I was young. I don't seem to remember. I seem to remember winters going to school. You'd be frizz. And there was a turf fire. That's what was in the grate. There was no central heating. And the teacher often had us be backside to the fire. And I used to sort of say, I'd love to just prod him and move him away so a bit of heat come out. And he would have a desk in front of us so the heat didn't go anywhere. You'd be down there and you had to do this kind of thing to keep warm. You were sort of blue with the cold. And it seemed to be snowing. Winter seemed to be snowing them times. And especially when you were going to school and sometimes when you were cycling. And the snow would be blowing into you, you'd be drowned. But now the last few years it's been not like that. We have a bit of frost with slippery roads. But this morning, as I opened the curtains to greet the day, if I didn't see snow, really something that they have now I know in different parts of the United States. And of course, we must have a fair supper up in Alaska. I wonder is there ever snowing up that neck of the woods? Freezing anyway. The polar bears might like it. I don't think we're not polar bears. So here we had snow, and the car was full of it. I thought, I wonder if we're going to have snowdrifts. But no, it changed into sort of sleet and then the rain. But there was snow in the car. I had to turn on the heat before I got into it. I like to have it a bit warmed up. I don't hop into it there in this. So then when I got in, I had to move the snow. So it wasn't freezing under it shifted. And the same in the reverse, in the back window had the little yoke going, the rear wiper. So it was kind of a bit warmish, and then I was able to motor off when I was going out, which was about quarter past 11 or something there, meeting a friend for a cup of coffee and or a pot of tea and a couple of biscuits and having a chat. You know, what's this he was telling me? Something that I found I never knew. And funny what you don't know. You learn something all the time, but I don't know how he found it out. He said there was um, a lady in Donegal that would work for the meteorological service, and she wasn't reporting, but she'd had whatever way she was able to judge. And this was able to judge the wind and storms and that kind of thing. And it was in June. Apparently, the invasion, the D-Day landings, was scheduled for, I think, the 5th of June or something. And her report mentioned storms, which apparently in London they were able to, because she was in Donegal, you have the Atlantic. So she forecast that, and the D-Day landings were going to take place. So it must have went up the ladder, which was good. And Eisenhower, which was the Supreme Commander, General Eisenhower, United States, went on to be president of that country, good president too. He postponed the D-Day landings, and the lady in Donegal gave a report, a 24-hour window then when it was calm, I think on the 6th of June. And they had the D-Day landings. Now, a lot of the soldiers were killed by the Germans because they were sitting ducks as they got off. And some of them drowned and they weren't helped. It was just all go like, and tanks and all the rest of it. And there was one episode that I remember coming across when I visited France, which I did many times. where there was United States soldier. There was often you would get water nearly in every village you passed, and there was a place there for water. You were able to get it, and he went to get it. But the Germans had put a bomb there, and he was blown to bits. Maybe one or two others were injured nearby. So that's what the Germans do. They're this cruel little race, and they did a lot of harm, and there was a lot of deaths. It's a pity when they did go that they didn't clear them out. They landed at Cherbourg, near Cherbourg, which I know, and the Germans had barriers as well all along the coast. They were expecting to land at Calais. I think they gave that impression, but no matter where you land with the Germans, they all seem to have enough there and they were picking the soldiers off because they were vulnerable as they got off. A lot of them were killed. But this lady in Donegal had an influence on the D-Day land as there was a 24-hour period when it was going to be all right in June, because June can be a very peculiar month, you know. And in the summertime, you're going to most terrible stormy weather, and so they couldn't have the landings on that particular time. With all the stuff they were bringing off tanks and all the rest of it. So it must have been something, mustn't it? Yeah. So anyway, they were successful in ridding them people, and I believe Hitler gave an order. Warsaw and Poland was destroyed on the orders of Hitler in 1944 when Germans were on the retreat, and he gave the order to the commander in Paris to destroy Paris, but he didn't obey it because he knew the time was up. Wouldn't that been a terrible thing to do? This is Hitler, what a destruction. He was quite evil. And they all had to obey him. Rommel, fella told me there, this man told me there today, he seemed to be knowledgeable about these things. He was very successful in the desert until General Montgomery, the British commander, beat him in the desert. Rommel before that was very successful, but when he went home to Germany for a vacation, this was when the D-Day lands happened, and I think he was ordered to save his family to commit suicide, which he did in 1944. So that was the Germans. Kind of weird race when you think about what all that they did. And then when the war was over, and none of them was in the Nazi party, they kind of seemed to blame the Nazis, but it was all Germans that was in the army. But suddenly they were like innocent, weren't there? And but as I say, I'm trained now from the snow. Funny, isn't it? You morph into something because I heard this little story today, which I didn't know. Because I remember seeing the film years ago about Rommel, and there was a film about it. And it was a film about D-Day landings. I think a fella called Ryan wrote a book or did something, and it was quite a good film, I believe. Yeah. And so there we are, and we're talking about snow. But it didn't snow here so that you were suddenly skidding here, there, and yonder. It was raining and it was quite cold. It was 2 degrees according to the information that I had. But then it increased to 4 degrees. But still 4 degrees is quite cold. But I think it's to get a bit warmer. When I say warmer, not warmer than earlier, it'll get up to 5 degrees, which is just above freezing, I think. But it's still chilly. So there we are. This is what we're often talking about. Let's talk. So I morphed into a couple of other things. And that's the way conversation often goes. It doesn't stay in the one thing. Sure it doesn't. You start off with something and you go on to something else that you hear and that you didn't know. And then I like to share these things. So I hope I find you well and in tune and passing on the news. to those who meet, good news, not negative stuff. Keep away from that. Just something that's interesting that you didn't know about. Yeah. Bye now, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll be meeting in the morning on our prayer videos, etc. And about St. Faustine and the Chapel of Mercy. Be doing that in the morning, and I'm going to do a little decade of the Chapel of Mercy to, because people mightn't know much about it. But the word is spreading, and I hope they do know something about it. Priests need to be talking about it in their masses, and I never heard anybody talking about it. And I'm a good long innings. Pope John Paul II made she would become a saint, and I'm reading Ramadan. She had a tough time. Bye now. Enjoy the rest of your evening.